I'll admit it, I'll admit it. Watch your motherfucking tone, boy. Yeah, it hurt, boy. Oh, here going on, motherfucker that don't understand the concept of putting money first, boy.
What's up and welcome back to a brand new video. Boy, do we have a good vlog coming up. We're doing a lot of exciting things. First of all, I'm a little bit in a hurry because I'm going to China today. So this will be a little bit of a China vlog. But first of all, we have just received this package here. And I'm about to show you now what's inside. So this is quite a big boy. And in here we have a bunch of filament. Filament is the type of stuff that you put inside of a 3D printer. So I'm gonna open this up, show you what it looks like. That looks like this. And we have just received our largest 3D printer order to date. We're gonna print 1,750 year markers, and we're charging about €1 each for these. So that means that we're making around 1,750 euros. This is the thing. It's not that much money, but our margins on this is great. All this material cost me around 100 euros, and I'm gonna be producing stuff for 1,750. And if you're new to this channel, then you don't know that in here I run a little 3D print farm. Currently it's 1, 2, 3 printers, and they're gonna be going now, being run by one of the store employees once I'm in China. So we're gonna set this up and we're gonna start printing some year markers. They print 20 per time, so if you're good at math, you can do the math, see how many times we're gonna have to print, and it takes around 2.5 hours each. So we're gonna set those up and then we're gonna get to printing. Alright, next up is that we hop on the... By the way, my whoop looks like one of these prison things. When you're when you're charging it, you look like you're on parole or something. But then we hop on the computer and we use Bamboo Studio to set up all these year markers. We have to select the correct material, which is PTG high flow. We have to slice the plate, and 2 hours and 38 minutes. So we're gonna print that. We're gonna send that to farmer 2, send, and then that'll start printing. Then we can just program it to do reruns every time we're done and we've removed the stuff from the build plate. All right, so then a couple of minutes later, these two are working away, as you can see. These printers are absolutely incredible. Just take a look at this. So this printer, focus, has run for 1,360 hours. That printer has run for 60 days straight, 2 months. And this is in September of 2024, it's now April of 2025. Since then, it's run for 60 days straight non-stop. I haven't had a single problem with it. The one to the right has run for 500 hours since January, so also pretty impressive. Not a single problem with that either. If you're familiar with printing of any kind, then you know that a paper printer will mess up all of the time. A regular paper printer, well, if it stops working, you better pray to God you're gonna be able to fix this. Because they're just, you get these random error messages, there's so much stuff online, they have 18 different models, and they really want you to buy a new one and subscribe to Ink. So, this paper printer that we have here, which is like, far, far, far less complex than one of those 3D printers, has had way more issues than those two printers have had over that same period of time. It's incredible. It's a fun to see that they're making such progress in technology that they're able to make these things that can just chuck out random stuff. Like this knife, 3D printed. It's wild. Now, we have another package here, which is also quite exciting. I make it sound like all of my packages are running, but low-key they are. Get that open. So what we have in here is some clothes. So we have some black and white t-shirts that say Arbeidsbutiken. That's a large one. And then we have another t-shirt which is... So again, if you're new to this channel, then you don't know that I have a brand of rope bags called a Palm U bag. And we had an artist make an illustration of this. So as you can see, it's a pyramid. So we have a t-shirt... Focus on my face, goddammit. So we have a t-shirt that just has this pyramid on it, which is pretty cool. We're gonna send that off to our ambassador together with that one, and then we're gonna be bringing some of these to Augsburg, which is a convention that we're going to. So I'm gonna be keeping one of those. Pretty nice. Oh, you look proper buff with this one. Extra medium, So I'll probably keep one medium for myself. I'll also keep one large for myself. Then we're gonna give one medium to Frida, who works here. She's gonna get one of those each. So we're gonna get those away actually. Yeah, I'm really happy. They look really cool, these ones. And then we got this one, also pretty sick. I mean, they're both pretty nice. We're gonna be keeping both of those. Wow, look at that. Let's go. So super good. Now people are gonna be recognizing this at this convention that we're going to after this China trip that's coming off. So that's ready to be on its way. Notice, it's about the details. Whenever I send out a bag to an ambassador, I send it in an all square box, just because the future is square. If you haven't seen it yet, then the rope bag that I'm talking about that I have developed, that's also a small part of the reason why I'm going to China, is because it is completely square. So they look like this. And also on my shirt, the pyramid that you're seeing is made of these bags. And the thinking here is that they stand up perfectly. Whenever you drop them on the ground, they stand up perfect, and there's no worries whatsoever. So that is why we built a pyramid out of it. There's completely square. That's why we're going with this, the future is square narrative. So now we're gonna finish up the day here. I have a couple of things left to do, a couple of admin stuff, or admin tasks, so to speak. And then we're gonna head to China. So China, we're going to Beijing, then we're going to Guangzhou, and then we're going to Shanghai. I grew up in Beijing. I lived for 6 years in Beijing between 12 and 18. I graduated from the British School of Beijing in 2017. I'm 26. So it's partly just go back, visit the roots, and then we're going down to Guangzhou, maybe go to the Canton Fair, we'll see, where they have a lot of the different products of all kinds, but also where we have the factory for these palmy bags. So maybe we visit that. I'm not entirely sure if they'll be in production at that time. They should have a batch in production, but we'll see. And then after that we're going to Shanghai just for some vacation. So that's the plan. Now we're gonna finish up the day here in Aberystwyth, and then we're gonna catch the flight, which is at 6 o'clock in the evening tonight.
Hey, safe to say I'm the biggest, the largest. Been stepping up shit since my mama stayed in them apartments. Regardless, my daddy told me keep the heat even when...
Alright, we're actually in Beijing now, as you probably saw on the flight. We're back to the roots. So in here, I grew up. I didn't really want to record because it's become a surveillance state very much, in that they didn't let me into the compound, me and my girlfriend. They didn't let us walk around, so we had to sneak in because, you know, your boy grew up here, so he knows the back doors inside of the clubhouse. So we managed to sneak in. We walked around a little bit, looked at my old home. I'll attach some pictures here where I grew up and made my first YouTube video, so to speak. You can actually go back to Beige Kickers on that channel and watch that. But we're just walking around this community. It's called Shunyi, which is where I grew up, and it's where I went to school. So I'm just walking around, showing my girlfriend some of it, and just reminiscing about the time. And it's really, I really had a model childhood here, and it's a little bit emotional, that whole thing. But a lot of trees here in the way, so we're switching the angle. A lot of cars too. But it really was just a model childhood. We had everything close by. All my friends lived in the same compound. You know, we had a good school that was very strict, not like these Swedish schools where people can do whatever the fuck they want. So I'm incredibly grateful for all of that. There's nothing better that could have molded my character than having spent 6 years here. So that's absolutely incredible. But it's a little bit of a ghost town. Like, all the expats have left, all the internationals have left. Super dead. Like, if you went there on a Sunday or a Saturday before, it would have been, you know, sprawling with life. People would have been out, they would have been playing basketball, football in the streets. That's what we did, certainly, but now it's dead. So that's a little bit boring to see. But it is what it is, I guess. Communities change and they adapt, right? And the Chinese companies don't need Western expats to come and live here and cost a lot of money anymore. So that's just what they're doing. But now we're gonna see if we can head back to the school where I used to go, and then just look around this whole community a little bit. It's fun to show my girlfriend, and it's also fun to just look back at how it was here. We've now snuck our way into my old school, which is pretty cool. I didn't think they'd let us in, but they did. And we're looking through some yearbooks here in the cafeteria, and we found Jaboy. So that's there. And just looking around, you know, all the different places, all the different sports trophies. They're still here, by the way. Like, all of those different, I'll attach some images again, still in the school. But this school was super strict compared to the Swedish ones. You got detention if you did something wrong. You know, the teachers, you had to call them by their surname, Mr. For example, Mr. Patok, whatever. So very, very strict in comparison to the Swedish schools, which was fantastic. Like, there was no better thing that ever happened to me than that I was put in this school, which is incredible. So, and very similar. Unlike the compound that we went to, this school is super similar to what it was, which is very cool to see because it's a fantastic school. But yeah, we're now in the cafeteria, the charity cafeteria called Chatterbox, which is run by parents, funnily enough. And just looking through some of the yearbooks. Then found this senior quote. You know, we had this stuff. You had to put a senior quote. I put, "Stuck in yearbook factory. Please send help." Real funny guy, this one, huh? 你好，一个冰 latte.
您方便扫码下单。
So this is an interesting one, Luckin Coffee. I've really been looking forward to trying this for quite some time. So what's interesting about it is that it's a much smaller store than any like typical coffee store would be. So you just go in there, you don't every one of them I've seen is probably 15 square meters or something like that, whereas Starbucks is 100. And it's very interesting because you pretty much have to order through their app. I just went in there now, and then she was quite confused that I didn't have the app, even though I know how to order in Chinese and all of that, but still she had to order it through her app for me. I'm not sure if that's the process in all of them or if that was just it. But what's interesting about this one, Luckin Coffee, is that they've expanded so fast. They opened, I remember their first store the year I moved from Beijing in 2017, and then now they have more locations than Starbucks. I think it's something like 3,800 locations or something like that just in Beijing. And in all of China it's even more. So it's incredible how fast they've grown. And it's super smooth in that you order through the app, you pay with Alipay, they get some little notification thing, and then they just generate the order through a little scan, and then there's a machine that makes it. So this is like a quarter of the price of what Starbucks is in China, which is already relatively cheap. This probably cost me €2 or something like that, which is quite cheap for like a high-end coffee place. So we're gonna give it a taste try. It's like any iced coffee. If you're a coffee nerd, you probably could tell the difference. I can't. I just thought it was pretty good. But it's interesting how China has developed and how much these things are coming along. Like, they're popping up with these like own Chinese brands that are growing much more. I remember when I was there, Starbucks was super popular, Nike was super popular, but now they've got all their own brands, which is pretty interesting. And then yeah, they're just the way they're handling digital payments, etc. They're so ahead. Like, Europe is a museum compared to their payment and their electric car technology and all of that, which is an interesting take. But then there's also some aspects where they're behind. Like, service here, goddamn camera, service here doesn't even come close to service in Europe, I'll argue. It's like people, they're either super close to you, they follow you just right behind you, or they don't want to serve you at all, really. Maybe that's just because you're Western, I'm not sure. But yeah, it's an interesting perspective. Now we're gonna get this down, we're gonna head back to the hotel. My girlfriend's there, resting up a little bit after the day. We spent the whole day outside, back in my old hoods, which is quite interesting, a little bit emotional, as you probably saw, but interesting to see. Then we're gonna head to Forbidden City and Tiananmen Square, eat some Peking duck, and then tomorrow morning we're actually heading to Guangzhou. See what Guangzhou is like. I'm also gonna head home and show you a little bit of a trick on how I market one of my apps completely for free. So let's show you that. So if you've been following along, you know that at this point I've got a couple of apps up on the App Store, and some of the ones that are performing the best are flashcard apps for particular very niche tests. And one of these is just about to hit, apologies for dirty screen here, hit $2,000 MRR, and it's made $4,000 in the last 28 days. So that's pretty good. And a lot of this is just from ASO, which is just, natural search on the App Store. But another way how I market this for free is that I post on Facebook. So I'm in this study group for this particular test. It's called the ISA study group, as you can see. Then I'll literally just say, I'll just take a screenshot from the app and I'll say, why are urban trees more susceptible to soil compaction? And then we'll paste that screenshot from the app. And then a lot of people will just see this as study. So they'll get a free question and they'll start answering these questions in the comments, etc. And then I always at the bottom link it. So mock exam is from the ISA flashcards app, like that, gets 2 likes. And every time that happens, I get a lot of purchases. So this is all within the last 24 hours of when I actually posted this. So that's a pretty good way to just get some free exposure and do some free app marketing. Do some guerrilla marketing if you have Reddit and Facebook forums. Just post about it in there, talk about it in there, and get the name of your application out there. And you too can start building a building a micro SaaS like this. So that's my tip. Just check it out, see if you can do some guerrilla stuff. Now we're gonna head out to Tiananmen Square and tomorrow to Guangzhou. Alright, so we're in a couple of days into this Guangzhou trip. Haven't really recorded too much. We've been doing some gibber, some jabber, just some random stuff, looking around, done some shopping. Now though, I thought this is pretty suiting for a tech bro lifestyle type of channel, and what we're looking for in this seemingly not so special park is a driverless taxi. So we're about to find one and hop into a taxi that's gonna drive itself, and we're just gonna follow along with the robot driving it. I'm not sure if there's a person in there actually controlling it, making sure that it's working, but apparently it's going to be completely hands-off, no one's going to be touching the wheel, and we're just going to follow along. So we're going to book that in a little second. We're just going to get out of this park. I'm going to show you how it works on the app. It's all in Chinese, but your boy speaks a little bit of Zhongwen. But we'll see what that experience is like, so let's hop into it. Alright, so we're going to see if we can try and get a good angle. See if we can try and book this now. So we're gonna select this stop, we're gonna use the map feature here, and we're just gonna go anywhere. We're gonna go over here, seems to be a pretty cool area. Select. We're gonna request a ride. We're gonna go ahead. Get a call out for a car. Allow. I think this says that we're 1 out of 1 in line, so we're next in line to get a car. Boom, and we got one. I think on its way. Automatic driving car. I could now pretend that I'm sitting in a self-driving taxi, but that is not the case. So we actually got one on the app, but then it said no, this is going to be a 45-minute wait just because we don't have enough cars. So a little bit of a bad experience. We prefer humans so far, at least they're coming to pick us up. So we had to cancel that plan. We couldn't do any self-driving taxi stuff. Maybe I cut this out of the vlog, maybe we keep it in. I don't know, but I would love to try this in Shanghai. So we're gonna see if we can do this tomorrow when we're going to Shanghai instead.
Yeah. Nigga that got spoiled off these fucking PJs. It's not like I'm too good at fly commercial. That shit just, it's a hassle at this point. You know
Alright, we have warped to Shanghai. So now I'm sitting here in our hotel room in Shanghai drinking a beer that they have written draft beer on, but as you can see it's in a can, so it's most definitely not draft beer. And this is the thing when you're running a small business, is that to some degree you can't escape it. Even if I have great employees, even if I have systems that work, there will always be some questions, and feel free to let me know if you know ways to optimize this. But what I've found is that no matter the systems you implement, how much you let people train and give them responsibility, there will always be some things which you will need to do yourself. So first of all, always a bunch of personal emails. Second of all, there's always like some specific niche questions or someone asking for, you know, some VAT thing, for example. So I'm sitting here now in the hotel room doing some administrative work. Right now we're doing some purchases just because I had to do that too. And we're also answering some emails. But we're going through this. So we've actually warped to Shanghai from the last part that you saw in Guangzhou. And now we're gonna have, this is our second day in Shanghai actually. So we have this evening and then one more day in Shanghai. So now let's hit the streets of Shanghai, have a good evening, and then we're gonna wrap this up. Alright, so we're on our last day here in China. We're walking down Nanjing Road. If this sounds horrible, please forgive me. But we've had a good 10 days here. I haven't shown too much because a lot of it's been personal vacation. I've shown some stuff just so how work still goes on, you know. But a couple of reflections from China. So number one is that the way they light up their cities is just incredible. Just look around, like all this stuff, they have so good lighting in all of their cities, which we don't in Europe. Number two is that their hardware, so I'm a product guy. I like to think about, you know, the things, the stuff, the products that they have. The hardware that they have is incredible. Like all of the cars, all of the phones, all of the, you know, small different gadgets that they use in their everyday life. It's like they have automatic barista stations. They have incredible vending machines. The hardware is so good. But what's lacking here is really the software. Like the software is nowhere near as good as the hardware is. You have all this incredible stuff, but then you go on like a government website and it's just, you know, built in Java 2001. Looks like a PDF on a page. So really doesn't live up to all the good hardware that they have. Number 3, their payment system though, which also is software to some degree, so this is the one exception, but it's not that nice UI design, is their Alipay. So the way you pay anywhere is that you just give a QR code and you pay that way. So it's just incredible how simple it is to just, you know, pay your dues anywhere. And my 4th and final reflection is that there's a lot of people, which I think to some degree leads to a little bit of a disregard for everyone else, because there's so many people everywhere in every situation that I think, and maybe this is just because of the recent tariffs, people think that we're, you know, white and European and American and we're imposed tariffs on these people, but I haven't really found it to be that friendly in most ways. Like some individuals that we met have been incredible, of course, because that's the, you know, most individuals are incredible people, no matter where you are. But where you go, like, you're not really met that nicely as you would be in, I think, most other countries, especially if you're tourists. So, yeah, some interesting takes. But that's gonna be it for this China segment in this video. We're now gonna hop into the home office and I'm gonna show you a new productivity setup. So let's transfer all the way, an 8-hour flight to Sweden, and I'll see you there. Alright, so it's a day later from whatever clip we just watched in China. I spent the day yesterday traveling all the way back to Sweden. Got a guy here. And I thought I was gonna film this now, but as you can tell, I got a little bit of a cold. Nothing too bad. I still work the whole day, you know. But my idea is to, because I have now Notion, Google Calendar, I use Outlook, I use like a journal, pen and paper. So my new productivity system that I want to try is to compromise all of this into the Apple ecosystem. Like, can I use Apple Mail, Calendar, Notes, and the To-Do app to manage all of the stuff that I need to do? Will this work? Will this work to manage my life with all of these different projects that I have? That's what I was going to plan to set up now, but now it's 9:30. I've had a bunch of meetings. I'm still a little bit jet lagged. I got a little bit of a cold. So I'm going to be a lazy piece of shit and not do this today. So that's actually another video that's going to be coming up. So subscribe and like for that. And if there's any other type of stuff that you want to see, then feel free to let me know down below. This was a very random vlog. It wasn't all that much business. It was a little bit of it here and there. But it's also, yeah, also just interesting sometimes to show regular stuff and regular parts of my life. Just because this is a vlog channel to some degree. And it's also partly for me just documenting this for my future stuff. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
He made the ESA app, and now he owns the ESA app, and now he owns this building, also this building, and somehow this empty stadium. How did you come to this fame, Herman? Did the arborist really need the apps that much? Nej men sluta filma mig!